Security cameras captured everything. A black man in worn sneakers enters Madison's luxury boutique. 15 minutes later, he's humiliated, live-streamed, and banned for life. 24 hours later, the store closes forever. The timestamp reads 2:47 p.m. when Marcus Johnson pushes through glass doors on Rodeo Drive. His faded jeans and hoodie draw stares from silk-draped customers. Store manager Sarah whispers urgently to security. Marcus approaches the watch counter. He's 34, deliberately dressed down today. His backpack hangs loose. Car keys jingle in his pocket. Sales associate Emma Rodriguez ignores him, continuing to help an elderly white woman. Other shoppers pull out phones. Someone starts recording. Instagram story caption: drama brewing at Madison's. Have you ever walked into a space where you immediately knew you weren't welcome, where your presence alone triggered whispers and assumptions? Marcus thought he was prepared for what happened next. He wasn't. This is one of those real-life stories that reveals how black stories of discrimination still unfold daily, creating touching stories that demand we examine our biases. Marcus checks his phone. The screen shows 2:48 p.m. He has exactly 12 minutes before his 3:00 p.m. appointment. This needs to be quick. The boutique sparkles under crystal chandeliers. Hermès scarves cascade from silk displays. A Patek Philippe watch collection gleams behind reinforced glass. Price tags reading numbers that could buy luxury cars. The air smells of expensive leather and subtle perfume. Marcus steps toward the watch display. His reflection catches in the polished glass as he examines a Philippe Nautilus model. The price tag shows $85,000, 0 cents. He pulls out his phone to check specifications, and something slips partially from his pocket. The edge of a first-class boarding pass to Tokyo, departure gate visible. Emma Rodriguez stands 3 feet away, helping the elderly white customer decide between pearl necklaces worth more than most people's annual salary. She glances at Marcus, notes his casual appearance, and deliberately turns her shoulder toward him. The message is clear. Marcus waits. He scrolls through his phone, and attentive observers might notice expensive car keys attached to his belt loop. A Bentley logo catches the light briefly. His backpack, while worn, bears a subtle Hermes leather tag that most wouldn't recognize. "Excuse me," Marcus says politely when Emma finishes with her customer. Emma doesn't turn around immediately. She organizes some jewelry pieces slowly, making Marcus wait. Finally, she pivots toward him, with crossed arms and raised eyebrows. "Yes?" Her tone carries the weight of a sigh. "I'd like to look at that Patek Philippe, please." Marcus points to the watch he's been studying. Emma's expression shifts from bored to incredulous. She actually laughs, a short, sharp sound that draws attention from nearby customers. "Sir, that's not really in your price range. Maybe try the mall down the street?" Her words hang in the perfumed air. Other customers turn to watch. Someone quietly pulls out their phone to record. Marcus maintained his calm demeanor. "I understand the price. I'd still like to see it." Emma exchanges a look with another sales associate across the floor. The second woman shakes her head slightly and returns to helping a well-dressed couple examine diamond earrings. "Those watches start at $85,000, Emma says slowly, as if explaining to a child. "Do you understand what that means?" "I understand numbers quite well," Marcus replies evenly. His phone buzzes. The screen shows a text message from someone labeled "Board Meeting," with the message, "Moved to 3:15. Still in conference room B." Marcus quickly silences the phone, but the partial message was visible to anyone watching closely. Emma notices his expensive phone case, carbon fiber with what appears to be a company logo. She frowns slightly, uncertainty creeping into her expression for the first time. But she's committed to her assumption now. "Sir, I really think you'd be more comfortable looking at our vintage collection. We have some nice watches under 5,000. I'm interested in the Patek Philippe, Marcus repeats. Security guard Mike Torres has been watching from his position near the entrance. He's a former police officer, trained to read situations and people. Something about this interaction makes him uncomfortable, but he can't quite identify what. The black customer seems calm, polite even. But Emma's body language suggests trouble brewing. Marcus checks his phone again. 2:51 p.m. 9 minutes left. A teenage customer near the handbag display starts live streaming on TikTok. Her username is @RodeoWatcher, and she has a modest following of Beverly Hills gossip enthusiasts. Something's happening at Madison's, she whispers to her phone. This is getting weird. The live stream shows 47 viewers initially, but the number climbs as viewers share with friends. Emma's supervisor, Sarah, notices the growing attention from her position behind the main counter. She's been managing high-end retail for 15 years, and she knows when a situation might escalate. Customer complaints, especially those involving accusations of discrimination, can destroy a store's reputation overnight. Sarah approaches with practiced professionalism, her heels clicking against marble floors. Is everything all right here? Sarah's voice carries authority mixed with concern. Emma immediately launches into explanation. This gentleman is asking about the Philippe collection, but I explain our pricing structure. Then Marcus turns to Sarah. I'd like to purchase a watch as an anniversary gift. I was hoping to see the Nautilus model. Sarah's eyes quickly assess Marcus's appearance. Worn jeans, basic hoodie, scuffed sneakers. She notes the backpack, the casual presentation. But she also notices something Emma missed. His posture, the way he carries himself, the quality of his watch despite his casual clothes. Of course, sir. We'd be happy to show you our collection. However, I should mention that piece requires a significant deposit just to handle. How significant? Marcus asks. $25,000. The live stream viewer count hits 200. Comments start flowing. This is uncomfortable. Why can't he just look? Store seems sketchy. Marcus nods thoughtfully. That's reasonable for a piece of that value. Sarah blinks. She expected him to retreat at the deposit requirement. Instead, he's treating it like a normal business transaction. You have that amount readily available? Sarah asks. Would you prefer cash or wire transfer? Marcus responds. The question hangs in the air. Sarah realizes she may have misjudged the situation. But she's also committed to supporting her employee's initial assessment, and there's something about Marcus's confidence that unsettles her. His phone buzzes again. This time the caller ID shows private equity partners. Marcus declines the call, but not before Sarah glimpses the label. The tension in the store is palpable now. Other customers sense drama brewing. The TikTok livestream reaches 847 viewers. Someone starts an Instagram story with the caption, Beverly Hills boutique drama unfolding. Marcus checks his watch. 2:54 p.m. 6 minutes remaining. So, he says calmly, may I see the watch? Sarah stares at Marcus for a long moment. Her 15 years in luxury retail have taught her to read customers quickly. The wealthy don't always dress the part. Tech billionaires wear hoodies. Oil heiresses shop in yoga pants. But something about this situation feels off. I'll need to see identification and a credit card before we handle inventory of that value, Sarah says finally. Marcus reaches for his wallet. As he opens it, observant viewers of the live stream might notice it's not a typical wallet. It's a slim leather case that appears custom-made. He pulls out a black credit card, the kind with no spending limit, and sets it on the glass counter. Emma picks up the card. Her expression changes slightly as she reads the name, Marcus A. Johnson. The card is heavier than normal credit cards, made of metal with subtle embossing. "I'll need to verify this," Emma says, though her tone has lost some of its earlier condescension. "Of course," Marcus replies, checking his phone again. 2:55 p.m., 5 minutes left. While Emma processes the card, at Rodeo Watcher's TikTok livestream has exploded to 2,400 viewers. The comments section fills rapidly. Something big is about to happen. Why are they treating him like this? Plot twist incoming. This store has issues. Other customers in the boutique sense the tension. A well-dressed woman near the handbag display pulls out her phone to record. An elderly man shopping for his wife stops browsing to watch. The store has become a theater, and everyone knows drama is building. Sarah's phone buzzes. She glances at it and sees a notification from the store's corporate oversight system. Unusual transaction activity detected. Large transactions trigger automatic monitoring for security purposes. Marcus stands calmly, hands clasped behind his back, studying the watch display. His demeanor remains professional, almost meditative. But there's something in his posture that suggests coiled energy, like a panther waiting. Emma returns from the card verification terminal, her face pale. "Sir, there seems to be an issue with payment processing." "What kind of issue?" Marcus asks evenly. The system flagged this as requiring additional verification. Marcus nods. "That happens with large transactions. Would you like me to call my bank?" Sarah intervenes. "Sir, perhaps we could schedule an appointment for later this week? Our security protocols require—" "I have 5 minutes," Marcus interrupts gently. "Then, I need to leave for another appointment." The timestamp on the TikTok stream shows 2:56 p.m. Viewer count hits 4,200. The Beverly Hills luxury retail drama is going viral in real time. Mike Torres, the security guard, steps closer. His police instincts are firing warnings, but he can't identify the source. The black customer hasn't raised his voice, hasn't made threats, hasn't acted inappropriately. Yet something about this situation screams danger. "Ma'am," Mike says quietly to Sarah, "maybe we should—" "Sir," Sarah addresses Marcus directly, cutting off Mike's suggestion, "I'm going to have to ask you to leave. You're making our other customers uncomfortable." Marcus looks around the store. The other customers are indeed watching, but their expressions range from curious to sympathetic. Several appear uncomfortable with how Marcus is being treated, not with Marcus himself. "What specifically have I done to make anyone uncomfortable?" Marcus asks. Sarah's jaw tightens. She's committed now, and backing down would mean admitting error. "You're being disruptive to our normal business operations." "By asking to see merchandise?" "By persisting when we've explained our policies." Marcus checks his phone. 2:57 p.m. 3 minutes. A new voice enters the conversation. "Excuse me, but this is ridiculous." A young woman customer, probably mid-20s, steps forward. "He hasn't done anything wrong. Why can't he just look at a watch?" Sarah spins toward the woman. "Ma'am, please, don't interfere with store security matters." "Security matters?" The woman laughs incredulously. "He asked to see a watch." Other customers murmur agreement. The tide of public opinion is shifting. But Sarah feels trapped by her initial response. Admitting mistake now would be career suicide. Mike receives a signal from Sarah, the subtle hand gesture they use to indicate when police should be called. But Mike hesitates. His training tells him this situation doesn't warrant police intervention. Yet his supervisor is clearly escalating. The TikTok live stream reaches 6,800 viewers. Comments flood faster than anyone can read. "Call the manager." "This is discrimination. Someone record everything." "Where's the owner?" This is about to explode. Marcus pulls out his phone and checks the time. 2:58 p.m. 2 minutes remaining. I need to leave in 2 minutes, he says calmly. Are you going to show me the watch, or should I take my business elsewhere? Sarah's face flushes. Sir, I'm asking you nicely to leave. Don't make this difficult. I'm not making anything difficult. I'm asking to see merchandise in a store that's open to the public. Security, Sarah calls out. Mike Torres approaches reluctantly. Sir, I'm going to have to ask you to leave the premises. Marcus looks at Mike directly. On what grounds? Mike struggles with the answer. You're causing a disturbance. How am I causing a disturbance? The live stream viewer count explodes to 8,900. Someone has cross-posted to Instagram, where it's being shared rapidly. The hashtag Madison's Karma starts appearing in comments. 2:59 p.m. Marcus looks at his watch, not the cheap digital one on his wrist, but an expensive timepiece that finally catches Sarah's attention. It's a Vacheron Constantin, worth more than most people's cars. A minute, Marcus says quietly. A minute until what? Sarah demands. Marcus doesn't answer. He opens his phone and sends a quick text. Ready for 3 p.m. meeting. See you upstairs. Sarah frowns. Upstairs? Sir, there's nothing upstairs except 3:00 p.m. Marcus looks directly at Sarah. My appointment time. Thank you for the customer service demonstration. It was very educational. He turns toward the door, then pauses. Oh, and Sarah, you might want to check your corporate email in the next few minutes. I believe you have a meeting. Sarah's phone immediately begins buzzing with notifications. Her face goes white as she reads the first message, subject line, Emergency Board Meeting, Conference Room B3. 0:00 p.m. Incident Review. The TikTok live stream hits 12,000 viewers as Marcus walks calmly toward the exit. Wait! Sarah calls out, but Marcus is already pushing through the glass doors. The store falls silent except for the sound of phones buzzing with notifications and the quiet murmur of live stream viewers realizing they've just witnessed something extraordinary. Emma stares at the black credit card still sitting on the counter, finally understanding that she may have made the biggest mistake of her career. Outside, Marcus Johnson checks his watch one final time and heads toward the elevator that leads to the corporate offices above Madison's luxury boutique. The real meeting is about to begin. The elevator doors close behind Marcus with a soft chime. Security cameras in the lobby capture him pressing the button for the executive floor, a level most Madison's employees have never seen. The timestamp reads 3:01 p.m. Downstairs, chaos erupts in slow motion. Sarah stares at her phone screen, reading and rereading the email that makes no sense. Emergency board meeting, conference room B, 3:00 p.m., PMRE. The sender's name makes her stomach drop. Marcus Johnson, CEO, Johnson Investment Group. Versus Torn Unhap. Agent John. That's impossible, she whispers. Emma Rodriguez frantically types Marcus Johnson, CEO, into Google on her phone. The first result loads, Forbes article from 6 months ago. The headline reads, Tech mogul Marcus Johnson expands retail portfolio, $2.3 billion, 0 cents. Investment firm targets luxury market. The photo shows the same man who just walked out of their store. Emma's hands shake as she scrolls through the article. Johnson Investment Group acquired controlling interests in 17 luxury retail properties across Beverly Hills and Manhattan this quarter. Sarah, Emma's voice cracks. Sarah, you need to see this. But Sarah is already running toward the back office, her heels clicking frantically against marble floors. She needs to access the corporate directory, confirm this nightmare isn't real. The TikTok live stream, still running at 14,500 viewers, captures Emma's horrified realization. At Rodeo Watcher zooms in on Emma's phone screen, sharing the Forbes article with thousands of viewers in real time. Comments explode. No way! Plot twist of the century. She's so fired. Oh my God, he's the owner. Karma is real. Mike Torres watches the growing panic with professional concern. He's seen enough corporate disasters in his security career to recognize when everything is falling apart. "What's happening?" he asks Emma. Emma shows him the Google results with trembling hands. "The man we just kicked out. He's the CEO of Johnson Investment Group. They own our building lease." Mike's face goes pale. "They own our what?" Meanwhile, 3 floors above, Marcus Johnson enters conference room B. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlook Rodeo Drive. He can see the Madison storefront below, where a small crowd has gathered outside, phones pressed against the glass, trying to catch glimpses of the drama inside. Marcus sets his backpack on the polished conference table and pulls out a laptop. The worn exterior of the bag contrasts sharply with the high-end technology inside. He opens a secure video conference application. At exactly 3:03 p.m., 3 screens activate around the room. "Marcus?" A woman's voice comes through the speakers. "I've been watching the live stream. Remarkable customer service demonstration." Marcus smiles slightly. "Patricia, I think we have everything we need for the legal review." Patricia Wong, Johnson Investment Group's chief legal counsel, appears on the center screen. 47,000 viewers and counting. The footage is quite comprehensive. On the second screen, David Kim, director of retail operations, shakes his head. "In 30 years of retail management, I've never seen anything quite that blatant." The third screen shows Robert Madison himself, the boutique's founder, calling in from his yacht off the coast of Monaco. His tanned face shows bewilderment and growing alarm. "Marcus, I don't understand. Why didn't you identify yourself? This could have been avoided." "Could it, Robert?" Marcus opens his laptop and begins typing. "Let's review some data." The main screen fills with a presentation titled Madison's Boutique, Customer Service Analysis, Undercover Assessment. The inside. "Over the past 6 months, my firm has conducted systematic evaluations of all properties in our retail portfolio. Madison's was scheduled for this assessment today." Marcus clicks to the next slide. Charts and graphs fill the screen. Customer satisfaction surveys show concerning patterns. Complaints about discriminatory treatment have increased 340% over the past year. Specifically, customers of color report negative experiences at rates 87% higher than white customers. Robert Madison's face tightens. "Marcus, those are just isolated incidents." "Are they?" Marcus advances to the next slide. Security footage analysis from the past 3 months reveals 23 documented instances of differential treatment based on customer appearance. Today's incident makes 24. Patricia Wong leans forward on her screen. "Marcus, show them the legal implications." The presentation shifts to a legal summary. California Civil Code Section 51.7 prohibits discrimination in business establishments. Federal penalties under the Civil Rights Act can reach $150,000, 0 cents per incident. With 24 documented cases, we're looking at potential liability exceeding $3,600,000, 0 cents. Robert Madison's yacht-tanned face goes white. "This can't be accurate." "It's very accurate, Robert. Every incident was recorded by your own security systems. Plus, today's performance was live-streamed to over 50,000 viewers and counting." David Kim adds, "Marcus, what about the lease implications?" Marcus nods. "Excellent question, David." He clicks to another slide. Section 14.3 of the Madison's lease agreement states that discriminatory practices constitute grounds for immediate lease termination. He pauses for effect. Johnson Investment Group acquired this building yesterday. The purchase was finalized at 5 p.m., making us your new landlord as of this morning. The silence in the conference room is deafening. Even through the video screens, the shock is palpable. Yesterday, Robert Madison's voice is barely a whisper. Yesterday, which means today's incident occurred on property we own, by employees whose actions we're now legally responsible for. Patricia Wong's screen updates with additional documents. The liability extends beyond lease violations. We're now looking at potential civil rights lawsuits, insurance claims, and reputational damage that could affect the entire Johnson Investment Group portfolio. Marcus stands and walks to the window. Below, he can see Sarah pacing in the boutique, her phone pressed to her ear. The crowd outside has grown larger. The live stream has been shared 12,000 times in the past 10 minutes, David Kim reports. It's trending on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. Madison's Karma is the #3 trending hashtag in Los Angeles. Marcus turns back to the cameras. Robert, your annual rent is $2,100,000, 0 cents. Your profit margin last year was 23%. Your insurance carrier will likely increase premiums by 340% when they review this footage. Legal defense costs alone will exceed $500,000, 0 cents. He clicks to the final slide of his presentation. This brings us to today's decision point. The slide shows 3 options. Option 1, immediate lease termination. Store close in 30 days. Option 2, legal action proceeds, 2-year court battle. Public records. Option 3, comprehensive reform with public accountability. Scott and Seema were in lease. What's option 3? Robert Madison asks quietly. Marcus returns to his seat. Complete operational overhaul, new management, mandatory bias training, diversity metrics monitoring, public reporting, and a $100,000 0-cent donation to civil rights organizations. And if we choose option 3, the lease continues. The legal action is suspended pending compliance. And maybe we prevent this from happening to anyone else. Patricia Wong adds, but Robert, understand that choosing option 3 means admitting systemic problems and accepting ongoing oversight. It's not just about money. Marcus checks his watch. It's 3:12 p.m. Your store manager is currently Googling how to file for unemployment. Your sales associate is crying in the bathroom. Your security guard is updating his resume. He looked directly at Robert Madison's screen. The question isn't whether you can afford option 3. The question is whether you can afford not to choose it. Outside, the TikTok live stream has reached 89,000 viewers. News outlets are starting to pick up the story. Someone has created a Wikipedia page for Madison's boutique discrimination incident. Marcus opened his phone and shows the screens. Oh, and Robert, TMZ just called. They want a statement about the luxury store racist meltdown video. Robert Madison closes his eyes. When he opens them, his voice is different, smaller, defeated. What exactly does option 3 require? Marcus Johnson smiles for the first time since entering the store. I'm glad you asked. Marcus Johnson opens a new presentation file. The conference room screens display a detailed breakdown titled Madison's Boutique, Comprehensive Reform Protocol. Option 3 isn't a suggestion, Robert. It's a carefully designed system that addresses every aspect of what went wrong today. Patricia Wong pulls up legal documents on her screen. Before we discuss terms, everyone needs to understand the current liability exposure. She displays a federal compliance chart. Under 42 U.S.C. Section 1981, which prohibits racial discrimination in contractual relationships, damages can include compensatory and punitive awards. Recent cases in California have averaged $275,000 0 cents per incident. David Kim adds financial context. Marcus, show them the revenue impact analysis. Marcus clicks to a detailed financial breakdown. Madison's boutique generates $9,100,000, 0 cents annually. However, demographic analysis shows you're only capturing 34% of potential market share in Beverly Hills. The data is stark. Customer demographics are 89% white, 4% Asian, 3% Hispanic, 4% Black, and other. Beverly Hills area demographics show a much more diverse population, with significantly higher spending power. You're leaving $4,200,000, 0 cents in annual revenue on the table due to reputation issues in communities of color, Marcus continues. Robert Madison's image flickers as his yacht's internet connection struggles. Those numbers can't be accurate. They're from your own POS system data, Robert. Cross-referenced with census data and consumer spending reports from the Federal Reserve Bank of San Francisco. David Kim displays additional charts. Yelp reviews, Google ratings, and social media sentiment analysis all show declining scores over 18 months. Today's incident has accelerated that decline exponentially. Marcus stands and walks to the window again. The crowd outside Madison's has grown to approximately 50 people. Local news vans are arriving. In the past 20 minutes, your online ratings have dropped from 4.2 stars to 2.1 stars across all platforms. The hashtag Madison's Karma has been shared 47,000 times. Patricia Wong interrupts. Robert, I need to inform you that we've received preliminary contact from 3 civil rights organizations. They're considering formal complaints with the California Department of Fair Employment and Housing. 3 organizations? Robert's voice cracks. NAACP Legal Defense Fund, ACLU of Southern California, and the Anti-Defamation League. The video evidence makes their case very strong. Marcus returns to his seat. This brings us back to option 3, complete structural reform. He advances to the detailed requirements slide. Immediate actions, 30 days. Terminate Sarah, store manager. Suspend Emma Rodriguez, sales associate, pending training completion. Implement bias incident reporting system. Hire diversity and inclusion consultant. Install customer feedback monitoring technology. Medium-term changes, 90 days. Structure hiring practices with diverse interview panels. Mandatory 40-hour bias training for all staff. Establish community advisory board. Create anonymous customer feedback system. Implement performance metrics tied to inclusive service. Long-term accountability, 12 months. Quarterly diversity reporting to Johnson Investment Group. Annual civil rights compliance audit. $100,000, 0 cents donation to NAACP Legal Defense Fund. Establishment of $50,000, 0 cents annual diversity scholarship. Public dashboard showing inclusion metrics. Robert Madison studies the requirements. The financial cost alone is enormous. Marcus nods. The donation and scholarship total $150,000, 0 cents. Training and consulting will cost approximately $75,000, 0 cents. Technology implementation adds another $50,000, 0 cents. $275,000, 0 cents in the first year, Robert calculates. Compared to $3,600,000, 0 cents in potential federal penalties, Patricia Wong notes. Plus legal defense costs, insurance increases, and lost revenue. David Kim displays comparative data. Robert, stores in our portfolio that implemented similar reforms saw average revenue increases of 28% within 18 months. Marcus opens his laptop again. Let me show you what success looks like. The presentation shifts to case studies. Johnson Investment Group reformed 3 similar properties over the past 2 years. Customer satisfaction increased by an average of 67%. Revenue grew 31%. Staff turnover decreased 45%. He clicks to specific examples. Prestige Jewelry in Manhattan saw their most profitable quarter ever after implementing inclusive service training. Luxury Leather in Chicago expanded their customer base by 89% within 1 year. Robert Madison's resistance is clearly weakening. What about oversight? How do we know when we've met your standards? Excellent question. Marcus displays a monitoring framework. Independent third-party audits every 6 months. Customer satisfaction surveys with demographic breakdown analysis. Mystery shopper evaluations across all demographic groups. Patricia Wong adds the legal framework. Compliance is measured against specific metrics. Customer complaints below 0.5% monthly. Demographic representation in customer base within 15% of area demographics. Staff completion of bias training with passing scores. And if we fail to meet these standards, Robert asks. The lease contains performance clauses, Marcus explains. First violation triggers a $50,000 0-cents penalty and accelerated oversight. Second violation results in lease termination with 60-day notice. David Kim shows the alternative. Robert, option 1 means immediate closure. You lose $2,100,000, 0 cents in annual revenue, plus liquidation costs. Option 2 means 2 years of legal battles, public hearings, and media coverage. Marcus checks his phone. The live stream video has now been viewed 127,000 times. CNN just published an article titled, "Luxury Store Discrimination Caught on Camera Goes Viral." He shows his screen to the cameras. Entertainment Tonight wants an exclusive interview. The Beverly Hills City Council has scheduled an emergency session about discrimination in luxury retail. Robert Madison's shoulders sag. This is spiraling out of control. Yes, it is, Marcus agrees. But option 3 allows you to control the narrative. Instead of being the villain in a discrimination story, you become the reformed business leader who chose change over defensiveness. Patricia Wong displays a public relations strategy. Voluntary compliance looks very different from forced compliance in the media. Proactive reform generates positive coverage. Marcus stands and begins pacing. Robert, I didn't create this situation to destroy your business. I identified it to fix a systemic problem that's hurting your bottom line and our community. He pauses at the window. Look outside. Those people aren't holding protest signs. They're holding phones, documenting history. The question is, what kind of history we write together? David Kim checks his tablet. Marcus, the mayor's office just called. They want to discuss the incident. And the governor's civil rights task force has requested a briefing, Patricia Wong adds. Marcus turns back to the cameras. Robert, you have approximately 6 hours before this becomes a statewide political issue. After that, your options become much more limited. Robert Madison closes his eyes for a long moment. When he opens them, his voice is barely audible. If I agree to option 3, what happens immediately? Marcus sits back down. We hold a joint press conference at 6 p.m. today. You announce voluntary implementation of comprehensive reforms. We frame this as leadership, not reaction. And the legal liability? Patricia Wong answers. Johnson Investment Group agrees to suspend civil action pending successful completion of the reform program. The clock starts fresh. The media coverage? David Kim responds, we control the message. This becomes a story about taking responsibility and choosing change. Marcus looks directly at Robert Madison's screen. Robert, I'm offering you a chance to be remembered as the business owner who chose to do the right thing when it mattered. Robert Madison stares at the ceiling of his yacht cabin for 30 seconds. The only sound is the distant murmur of protesters outside and the hum of conference room technology. Finally, he looks back at the camera. What do I need to sign? At 3:47 p.m., digital signatures appear on compliance documents across 4 different screens. The Madison's Boutique Reform Agreement becomes legally binding with Robert Madison's electronic consent from international waters. Patricia, file this with the California Secretary of State immediately, Marcus instructs. David, initiate the press release protocol. Within minutes, the consequences begin cascading through the boutique below. Sarah receives the termination notice via corporate email at 3:52 p.m. The message is brief and legally precise. Effective immediately, your employment with Madison's Boutique is terminated due to discriminatory customer service practices documented on June 30, 2025. Final compensation will be processed per company policy, minus training costs incurred. Sarah stares at her phone screen in the back office, surrounded by inventory boxes and the smell of expensive perfume. 15 years of retail management ended by 15 minutes of poor judgment. Emma Rodriguez gets a different message. Mandatory suspension without pay pending completion of 40-hour bias awareness training program. Return to work contingent upon successful completion and probationary performance review. She reads it while sitting in the employee bathroom, tears streaming down her face as the live stream comments she's been reading finally stop refreshing. The TikTok video has been viewed 189,000 times. Mike Torres receives yet another notification. Formal written warning for failure to de-escalate customer service incident. Mandatory 20-hour conflict resolution training required within 30 days. At 4:15 p.m., Dr. Amelia Harrison arrives at Madison's Boutique. She's the diversity and inclusion consultant Johnson Investment Group keeps on retainer. A former federal civil rights investigator with a PhD in organizational psychology. Dr. Harrison's first action is installing temporary customer feedback tablets at every service station. The devices ask simple questions. Did you feel welcome today? Was service professional and respectful? Would you recommend this store to friends? By 4:30 p.m., the new technology reveals immediate data. Of 12 customers who shopped during the afternoon, 8 rated their experience below average. Comments include, staff seemed distracted and worried, and atmosphere was tense. Meanwhile, Marcus Johnson's legal team works with surgical precision. At 4:45 p.m., they file formal notifications with relevant civil rights organizations, explaining the voluntary compliance agreement and reform timeline. NADACP Legal Defense Fund receives a detailed report including the settlement terms, reform commitments, and monitoring protocols. The $100,000 zero-cent donation will fund their economic justice initiative, focusing on retail discrimination cases. The Anti-Defamation League gets copies of the bias training curriculum that will be implemented store-wide. The 40-hour program includes modules on unconscious bias, cultural competency, and inclusive customer service practices. At 5:00 p.m. sharp, Marcus calls an emergency staff meeting in the boutique. 7 employees gather nervously among the crystal chandeliers and luxury displays. I'm Marcus Johnson, CEO of Johnson Investment Group, he begins. We now own this building and have significant concerns about today's customer service incident. The employees exchange glances. Everyone has seen the viral video by now. Effective immediately, we're implementing comprehensive reforms designed to ensure every customer receives respectful, professional service, regardless of appearance, race, or perceived economic status. Marcus explains the new protocols. Customer service standards will be monitored through mystery shopper evaluations every 2 weeks. Shoppers will represent diverse demographics and dress styles. Performance ratings directly impact employee evaluations and compensation. A community advisory board will review customer complaints and suggest improvements. The 7-member board includes representatives from Beverly Hills NAACP, local business associations, and community organizations. Anonymous reporting systems allow customers and employees to flag discriminatory behavior without fear of retaliation. Reports trigger automatic investigations within 24 hours. Training programs begin immediately. All staff must complete bias awareness education before returning to full duties. Passing scores of 85% or higher are required. Performance metrics now include inclusion measures. Customer satisfaction scores must meet diversity benchmarks. Employees receive bonuses for consistently high ratings across all demographic groups. At 5:30 p.m., the first mystery shopper arrives. A young black woman in casual clothes carrying a worn backpack. She browses quietly, testing whether service has already improved. The remaining sales associate, Jennifer Walsh, approaches immediately. "Good evening. Welcome to Madison's. Is there anything specific I can help you find today?" The interaction is recorded by discrete cameras for training analysis. Jennifer's tone is professional, her body language open and welcoming. She spends 20 minutes showing various pieces without asking about budget or payment methods. The mystery shopper rates the experience 4.5 out of 5 stars. At 6:00 p.m., the joint press conference begins in the boutique's main showroom. Marcus Johnson and Robert Madison, via video link, address assembled media. "Today's incident represents an unacceptable failure in customer service standards," Robert Madison states from his yacht. "I take full responsibility and have implemented immediate corrective measures." Marcus adds, "Johnson Investment Group is committed to ensuring luxury retail serves all customers with dignity and respect. These reforms will be monitored transparently and reported publicly." The press conference generates immediate positive coverage. Headlines read, "Luxury store owner takes responsibility after viral discrimination video," and tech CEO's undercover investigation leads to retail reform. By 7:00 p.m., the customer feedback tablets show measurably different results. Evening shoppers rate their experience an average of 4.2 stars, with comments like, "Staff was very attentive," and "felt welcomed and respected." The TikTok video continues, viral spread, but now the story includes the resolution. At Rodeo Watcher posts a follow-up. Mad. Update. Store owner just announced major changes after viral discrimination video. This is how you handle accountability. Within 30 days, independent auditors will verify compliance with all reform measures. Customer demographic data will be analyzed monthly. Staff performance reviews will include inclusion metrics alongside sales numbers. For the $50,000 0 cents annual scholarship program launches immediately, supporting students pursuing careers in business ethics and civil rights law. Recipients will be selected by the Community Advisory Board. A public dashboard goes live on Madison's website, displaying real-time customer satisfaction scores broken down by demographic categories. The transparency is unprecedented in luxury retail. Dr. Harrison establishes weekly sensitivity training sessions. Role-playing exercises help staff recognize unconscious bias. Customer service scenarios include diverse situations and backgrounds. By month's end, Madison's boutique will look identical from the outside. Crystal chandeliers will still sparkle. Luxury goods will still gleam behind polished glass. But the invisible barriers that kept customers like Marcus Johnson from feeling welcomed will be systematically dismantled. Marcus Johnson chose reform over revenge. He used his position of power not to destroy, but to create sustainable change that would outlast any individual incident. The security cameras that captured everything on June 30th will continue recording, but now they document transformation instead of discrimination. 6 months later, Madison's boutique looks like a completely different business from the inside. Customer satisfaction ratings have climbed to 94%, up from 67% before the incident. The improvement crosses all demographic categories. with Black and Hispanic customers now rating their experience at 93%, nearly identical to white customers at 95%. The diversity metrics tell a remarkable story. Customer demographics now reflect Beverly Hills area population within 8%. 52% white, 23% Asian, 15% Hispanic, 10% Black, and other ethnicities. Revenue has increased 23% as the store successfully attracts the previously excluded market segments. Emma Rodriguez completed her bias training and returned as an associate manager. Her customer service scores consistently rank in the top 10% across all demographics. She credits the training with opening her eyes to unconscious behaviors she never recognized. I learned that assumptions I thought were normal were actually barriers, she explains to new hires during training sessions. Now I approach every customer with curiosity instead of judgment. The Community Advisory Board meets monthly in Madison's back conference room. Board member Dr. Angela Washington, a local NAACP chapter president, describes the transformation as proof that businesses can choose accountability over defensiveness. Marcus Johnson has become a case study in Harvard Business School's ethics curriculum. His guest lecture, Dignity as Business Strategy, draws standing room-owned crowds of MBA students eager to learn how social justice principles can drive profitable growth. The Madison's model has spread far beyond Beverly Hills. 47 luxury retailers across 12 states have voluntarily implemented similar accountability systems. The Madison's protocol is now recognized industry-wide as the gold standard for inclusive customer service. Johnson Investment Group's retail portfolio has seen average revenue increases of 31% in stores that adopted comprehensive bias training. The business case for inclusion has proven itself through measurable financial returns. The viral TikTok video, now viewed over 2.3 million times, serves as training material in business schools and civil rights organizations. It demonstrates how one person's courage to document injustice can create systemic change. Marcus reflects on that June afternoon. They saw my clothes and made assumptions about my worth. I saw an opportunity to change an entire industry. That's the difference between reacting and responding. The security cameras that captured the original discrimination now document thousands of positive interactions. Customer testimonials praise the welcoming atmosphere and respectful service that defines Madison's new culture. Sarah, the former manager, works for a small retail chain in another state. She completed extensive bias training and speaks publicly about the importance of recognizing unconscious prejudice. Her story serves as a cautionary tale about how quickly careers can be destroyed by discriminatory behavior. The $50,000 0 annual scholarship has supported 12 students pursuing civil rights law and business ethics. Recipients intern at Johnson Investment Group, learning how social justice principles integrate with successful business practices. Most importantly, no customer has reported feeling unwelcome or discriminated against at Madison's boutique since the reforms began. The anonymous feedback system processes hundreds of responses monthly, with 94% rating their experience as excellent or very good. These real-life stories prove that individual courage can transform entire systems. Marcus Johnson's experience represents one of countless Black stories where discrimination was met not with resignation, but with strategic action that created lasting change. His story joins the growing collection of touching stories that demonstrate how ordinary people can create extraordinary impact when they choose accountability over anger, reform over revenge. Have you witnessed discrimination in retail or other public spaces? Your experience matters and could help create change. Share your story in the comments below. These life stories inspire others to stand up for justice. Subscribe for more real-life stories that showcase how everyday people transform unfair systems. These Black stories and touching stories remind us that one person's courage can change entire industries. Share this video if you believe every customer deserves dignity regardless of appearance. Together, we can make discrimination economically and socially unacceptable. What would you have done in Marcus's situation? Would you have revealed your identity immediately or used the moment as a teaching opportunity? Comment below and join the conversation about creating change through strategic action rather than emotional reaction.